ZEPH-4471 moved his 6 legs across the control panel of his small scout ship. The bug-like alien had been flying patrol missions for 3 years now. Today felt like any other boring day in empty space. His ship, the Whisper's Edge, was built for staying hidden and watching from far away. The Kethrin Collective always sent scouts to check new areas of space. Most of the time, Zeph found nothing interesting. Dead planets, old rocks floating in, space, maybe some gas clouds. He had seen it all before. His green compound eyes looked at the screens showing the area around him. Zeph was checking the dead system called Kepler 442 when his sensors started making noise. Something was wrong. The energy readings did not make sense. His instruments were going crazy, showing numbers that should not be possible. "What is that?" Zeph said to himself. His voice sounded like clicking and buzzing to human ears. Far across the empty space, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. The big human warship was doing a simple job, looking for useful rocks and metals on nearby asteroids. Jake was a calm man in his 40s with short brown hair and tired eyes. He had been in space for 15 years and thought he had seen everything. "Luck with the mineral scans, Amy?" Jake asked his sensor officer. Lieutenant Amy Davis looked at her screens. She was young, maybe 25, with red hair tied back in a neat bun. "Nothing special yet, Captain. Some iron and nickel on asteroid. Cluster 7. The usual stuff." Jake nodded. This was the kind of mission he liked. No fighting, no danger, just peaceful work to help Earth find new resources. The Liberty was built for war if needed, but Jake hoped those days were over. Humans had only been in space for 50 years, and they were still learning about the galaxy. The Liberty was huge by human standards. It stretched almost 2 miles from front to back. The ship needed to be big to carry everything humans thought they needed in space. Big living areas, gyms, gardens, workshops, and storage for months of supplies. Humans liked their comfort, even in the cold darkness between stars. Amy's sensors picked up something small moving in the distance. "Captain, I'm getting a reading on something about 50,000 miles away. Looks like a piece of space junk maybe. Pretty small." Jake looked at the main screen. "Keep an eye on it, but don't worry too much. It's probably just an old satellite or something." Neither of them knew that the space junk was actually Zeph 4471's scout ship. The little alien was hiding behind a small moon, watching the human ship. With growing fear, Zeph could not believe what his instruments were telling him. The human ship was massive, bigger than anything in the Kethron fleet. His computers said it was putting out more energy than a small star. The weapon systems alone looked like they could destroy planets. "This cannot be real," Zeph whispered, his forearms shaking as he worked the controls. The worst part was that the humans seemed to be doing some kind of resource survey. Everyone in the galaxy knew that advanced species only did that when they were planning to invade and take over a system. The fact that they were checking what valuable materials were here meant they were probably going to come back with a whole fleet. Zeph watched as the human ship fired some kind of beam at an asteroid. The rock simply disappeared. To the alien scout, it looked like the humans had weapons that could make matter vanish from existence. He did not know that the humans were just using a mining laser to break up rocks and collect samples. On the Liberty's bridge, Chief Engineer Bob Turner was having problems with the new fusion engines. Bob was a big man with gray hair and hands that were always dirty from working on machines. "Captain, I need to run a full power test on the fusion core," Bob said over the radio. "These new engines are running a bit hot." "Go ahead, Bob. We're not going anywhere fast," Jake replied. When Bob fired up the engines to full power for the test, Zeph's instruments went completely crazy. The energy output was so high that his ship's computers thought a star was about to explode. To the alien, it looked like the humans had just charged up some kind of superweapon. Zeph started recording everything. His superiors would never believe this if he did not have proof. A species with technology that was hundreds of years ahead of anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships that could destroy worlds, energy systems that bent the laws of physics, and they were clearly preparing for war. The scout pilot watched as the human ship moved from asteroid to asteroid. Each time they used their mining equipment, Zeph saw it as a weapons test. Each time they scanned for minerals, he thought they were looking for strategic resources to fuel their war machine. After 2 hours of watching, Zeph had seen enough. His small ship slowly backed away, staying hidden behind moons and asteroids. He needed to get this information back to the collective as fast as possible. The galaxy was in terrible danger, as the Whisper's edge jumped into faster than light. Travel, its departure, created a small flash of light. Amy noticed it on her sensors. "Captain, that piece of space junk just disappeared." "Might have been some kind of old probe that finally broke apart," she said. Jake nodded without much interest. "Log it and move on. We've got 6 more asteroids to check before dinner." The humans continued their peaceful work, completely unaware that they had just become the most feared species in the galaxy. Zeph was already halfway home, carrying news that would change everything. In his mind, he had just witnessed the preparation for the greatest invasion in galactic history, the Liberties. Crew kept working, scanning rocks and testing equipment. They joked with each other over the radio, complained about the ship's coffee, and made plans for their return to Earth. None of them knew that their simple survey mission had just been recorded as proof that humanity was planning to conquer the galaxy. Jake looked out at the stars and smiled. Space was beautiful and peaceful. He hoped it would stay that way forever. If only he knew that his hope for peace had just become the galaxy's greatest nightmare. ZEPH 4471's ship came out of faster-than-light travel near the Kethrin homeworld. He had never flown so fast in his life. The little scout ship's engines were smoking from the hard trip, but Zeph did not care. He had to tell someone about what. He saw that Kethrin Collective's main command center was a huge building made of black metal and green glass. Zeph ran through the halls on his 6 legs, carrying his data recorder. Other Kethrins moved out of his way. They could smell his fear. "Chemicals in the air, Commander Vex," 2890 looked up when Zeph burst into his office. Vex was old for a Kethrin, with scars on his shell from many battles. He had never seen one of his scouts so scared. "Zeph 4471, what is the meaning of this?" "We're supposed to be on patrol for 3 more days, Vex said in their clicking language. "Sir, we have a big problem, a huge problem. I found something in the Kepler 442 system. A new species. They have technology that makes no sense. Their ships are bigger than our cities. Their weapons could destroy planets," Zeph said, talking very fast. Vex looked at the young scout with doubt. "Slow down. Show me your data." Zeph put his recorder on Vex's desk. The commander watched the video files and read the energy measurements. His green face slowly turned pale. The numbers were impossible, but his instruments did not lie. 2 hours later, an emergency message went out to every major species in the galaxy. The Galactic Council was calling for an immediate meeting. In 300 years, this had only happened 5 times before. Each time, it meant the galaxy was in terrible danger. President Veltar of the Galactic Council was a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and golden eyes. She had led the council for 20 years through wars, plagues, and disasters. Nothing scared her anymore. But when she read Zeph's report, her hands started shaking. The council meeting took place on Harmony Station, a huge space station that floated in neutral space between all the major worlds. Representatives from 50 different species came as fast as their ships could carry them. The great meeting hall was filled with aliens of every shape and size. Vielter stood at the center podium. The hall became quiet. Everyone knew something bad was happening. "Friends and allies, we face a crisis unlike anything in our history. 3 days ago, a Kethrin scout discovered a new species. They call themselves humans. What our scout found changes everything we know about what is possible," Veltar said. She activated the big screen behind her. Zeph's video showed the USS Liberty moving through space. The alien representatives gasped when they saw the size of the ship. Some species had never built anything that big, not even their space stations. Admiral Crixnine, 1000 of the Hegemony Defense Force, was a robot-like being made of black metal and glowing red lights. "I had fought in every major war for the past 50 years. His electronic voice was cold and exact. I have studied the tactical data. This human ship shows energy output levels that are off our measurement scales. Their fusion systems appear to be at least 500 years ahead of our best technology. The weapon systems alone could crack open moons, Crix said, a representative from the Peaceful Builders. A race that looked like walking trees raised one of his branch-like arms. Perhaps they are simply explorers like us. Not all species are warlike. Crix's red lights flashed brighter. The evidence says otherwise. Look at what they were doing. Resource surveys in an empty system. This is classic pre-invasion behavior. They scan systems, find what is valuable, then come back with invasion fleets to take it. On Earth, completely. Unaware of the panic in the galaxy, Dr. Lisa Brown was working late in her laboratory. Lisa was a small woman with black hair and thick glasses. She had spent 10 years trying to make fusion engines work better. Finally, she said to her empty lab, her new design could make fusion engines 15% more efficient. It was not a huge improvement, but every little bit helped. Space travel was expensive, and saving fuel could save millions of dollars. Lisa did not know that her small improvement used principles that the galaxy's smartest scientists thought were impossible. What she saw as basic engineering was actually technology that broke several laws of physics as the aliens understood them. She wrote up her report and sent it to her boss. New fusion efficiency improvements ready for testing on next deep space? Mission, she typed. To her, it was just another day at work. She had no idea that her email would eventually be seen as proof that humans were building better weapons. Back on Harmony Station, Council was getting more scared with every piece of information they heard. A military expert from the Crystal, minds, beings made of living glass, shared his analysis. Look at the size of their ship. Da-da-da. It is clearly designed to carry thousands of troops. The energy systems could power weapons that we cannot even imagine. They are scanning for resources, which means they need materials for building more ships. This is not exploration. This is preparation for war. The Crystal Mine said Commander Pete Jackson sat in his office on Earth's Deep Space Command Base. Pete was a quiet man who liked paperwork and routine. He was reading Captain Jake Morrison's mission report from the Liberty. Survey mission completed successfully. Found standard asteroid composition iron, nickel, some rare metals. No signs of life or unusual activity. Recommend follow-up mining mission in 6 months. Area appears safe for human expansion, the report said. Pete stamped the report approved and put it in his filing cabinet. He made a note to send another ship to Kepler 442 next year to start mining operations. To Pete, it was just routine. Expansion of human space. He had no idea that his simple approval had just become a declaration of war in alien minds. The Galactic Council. Meeting went on for 12 hours. Representatives argued, planned, and grew more frightened with each hour. The evidence was clear to all of them. Humans had technology that could conquer the galaxy. They were scanning systems for invasion. They had to be stopped. Admiral Zero Prime of the United Defense Coalition was a tall, silver-skinned woman with purple hair. She had commanded fleets in 3 major wars and never lost a battle. Her voice was calm but deadly serious. Cannot. Wait for them to attack first. By the time they launch their invasion fleets, it will be too late. We need to hit them now before they can build more of those monster ships, she said. But what if we are wrong? What if they really are peaceful? Asked the representative from the Gentle Swimmers. Fish-like aliens who hated violence. Crix's mechanical voice cut through the discussion. Can we take that chance? If we are right and we do nothing, every species in this galaxy will be enslaved or destroyed. If we are wrong and we attack peaceful explorers, we will have committed a terrible crime. But we will still be alive to feel guilty about it. The vote was not close. 47 species voted to stop the human threat. Only 3 voted against military action. The galaxy's largest war fleet would be assembled immediately as the meeting ended and representatives went back to their ships. None of them knew that. They had just declared war on the most peaceful species they had ever encountered. On Earth, humans continued their daily lives, completely unaware that they had become the galaxy's greatest enemy. Dr. Lisa Brown went home to her small apartment and fed her cat. Commander Pete Jackson had dinner with his family and helped his daughter with her homework. Captain Jake Morrison played cards with his crew aboard the Liberty. Still checking asteroids in empty space, the galaxy prepared for war while humanity prepared for dinner. The greatest misunderstanding in history had begun. 6 months passed since Zeph 4471 had seen the Liberty. On Earth, nobody knew about the panic in the galaxy. Humans kept doing what they always did, exploring space, building colonies, and looking for new homes among the stars. The colony ship. New Horizon was huge, even by human standards. It was 3 miles long and carried 50,000 people in sleeping pods. These colonists were farmers, doctors, teachers, and engineers who wanted to start a new life on a planet called Tau Ceti. Captain Tom Harris walked through the ship's bridge with his morning coffee. Tom was a big man with a gray beard who had spent 20 years flying colony ships. He loved helping people find new homes in space. To him, there was no better job in the universe. "How are our passengers doing, Kate?" Tom asked his chief engineer. Kate Williams looked up from her computer screens. She was a smart woman in her 30s, with short blonde hair and oil stains on her work clothes. Kate took care of the ship's fusion engines, life support systems, and thousands of other machines that kept everyone alive. All 50,000 are sleeping peacefully. Life support is running perfectly. The fusion engines are working better than expected. Dr. Brown's new improvements are amazing. We're getting 15% better fuel efficiency than planned, Kate said with a smile. Tom nodded. He was proud of his ship and crew. The New Horizon was built to keep people safe during the long trip between stars. It had thick armor to protect against space rocks, powerful shields to stop radiation, and engines that could run for years without stopping. What Tom and Kate did not know was that alien sensors were watching them. The Kethrin observation post was hidden behind a large asteroid in the outer part of the Tau Ceti system. The aliens had been waiting for 6 months, expecting humans to come. Scout Commander RIX-7733 watched his instruments with growing horror. The human ship was even bigger than the one Zeph had found. It was clearly a massive troop transport carrying an army of invaders. The energy readings from its engines were impossible to believe. "How many troops do you think it carries?" asked him. His assistant, Nix-4455.Rick, studied the data. At least 50,000 soldiers, all in suspended sleep. Look at the escort ships around it. The escort ships were actually just the New Horizons defensive drones. Every human colony ship carried them to shoot down dangerous space rocks and small meteors. To the aliens, they looked like advanced fighter craft providing protection for the invasion force. "Send a message to High Command immediately. The human invasion has begun," Rix ordered, on the bridge of the New Horizon. Dr. Sam Roberts was looking at his science instruments. Sam was the ship's head scientist, a thin man with brown hair who loved studying space. Noticed some strange readings from the outer system. "Tom, I'm picking up some unusual energy patterns near the asteroid belt. It's probably just solar activity." "But the readings are a bit odd," Sam said. Captain Harris looked at the main screen. "Keep monitoring it. Let me know if anything changes. We're still 2 days away from the planet." Sam had no idea he was looking at the energy signatures of the largest military fleet ever assembled in galactic history. While the New Horizon traveled peacefully toward its new home, hundreds of alien warships were moving into position around. The System Admiral Zara Prime stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Galaxy's Shield. The ship was 2 miles long and carried enough weapons to destroy planets. It was the pride of the United Defense Coalition and had never lost a battle. Report. From all fleet commanders, Zara ordered her tactical officer, a blue-skinned alien with tentacles for arms, read from his screen. "All ships are in position. We have 43 dreadnought battleships, 200 cruisers, 500 destroyer escorts, and 12 planet killer ships. Total fleet strength is 760 vessels from 18 different species." Zara nodded grimly. It was the largest fleet she had ever commanded. Every major species in the galaxy had sent their best ships and crews. They all knew what was at stake. "The human troop transport will reach weapons range in 36 hours. "Are cloaking systems working properly?" Zara asked. "Yes, Admiral. The humans cannot see us. Their sensors are not advanced enough to penetrate our stealth technology, tactical officer replied. Zara felt confident about the battle to come. Even if the humans had better technology, they were outnumbered 700 to 1. Ship could fight an entire fleet no matter how advanced it was. What Zara did not understand was that the New Horizon was not a warship at all. It was a peaceful colony transport with no real weapons. The humans on board were not soldiers. They were families looking for a new place to live. On Earth, the news showed a story about the New Horizon's mission. A reporter stood outside the spaceport where the ship had launched 6 months earlier. The 50,000 colonists aboard the New Horizon are now just 2 days away from their new home. These brave pioneers will start the first human settlement in the Tau Ceti system. The colony will focus on farming and mining, providing food and materials for future human expansion into space, reporter said. President Mary Johnson watched the news from her office in Washington. Mary was a kind woman in her 50s who believed humans should explore space peacefully. She was proud of the colony program and the brave families who left Earth to build new worlds. What wonderful news. I hope they build a good life out there, Mary said to her aide. Neither the president nor anyone else on Earth knew that their peaceful colonists were flying into the middle of a war zone. The galaxy's military leaders saw the news broadcasts as propaganda designed to make the human invasion look innocent. Back on the New Horizon, the colonists were starting to wake up from their long sleep. The ship's medical team, led by Dr. Ann Foster, was helping people recover from 6 months in suspended animation. Welcome to the Tau Ceti system, everyone. We'll be arriving at our new home planet in 2 days. Please take your time getting used. To normal gravity again, Dr. Foster announced over the ship's speakers. Families started gathering in the ship's common areas. Children who had been sleeping for half a year were excited to see their new world. Parents talked about the farms and towns they would build. Engineers discussed the factories and power plants they would construct. None of them knew. They were being watched by hundreds of alien warships. The galaxy's greatest military minds saw their excited conversations as battle planning. Their talks about building farms were interpreted as plans for military bases. Their discussions about power plants sounded like preparations for weapons. Factory's chief engineer, Kate Williams, was in the engine room, making final checks before they arrived at the planet. The fusion reactors were running perfectly, but she wanted everything to be ready for landing. Bill, check the landing thrusters. Sarah, run a full diagnostic on the atmospheric processors. Mike, test all the construction equipment, Kate ordered. Her crew moved quickly to check every system. The New Horizon carried everything needed to start a new colony: machines to clear land, equipment to build houses, devices to make the planet's air breathable for humans, to the alien fleet watching them. All this equipment looked like military hardware. The atmospheric processors appeared to be terraforming weapons that could change a planet's environment. The construction machines seemed like tools for building military fortifications. Admiral Zeroprime received constant updates from her scout ships. Each report made the situation look worse. The humans were carrying equipment that could reshape entire worlds. They had machines that could build massive structures in days. Most frightening of all, they seemed completely confident, as if they knew they could not be stopped. They act like they own the galaxy already, Zara said to her officers. This arrogance proves they have technology we cannot imagine. No species would be so bold unless they knew they were invincible. The countdown to confrontation continued. In 30 hours, the New Horizon would be close enough for the alien fleet to attack. The galaxy's military forces prepared for the most important battle in their history. Meanwhile, the human colonists practiced waking up exercises and planned their first cities. Captain Tom Harris shared coffee with his officers and talked about fishing on their new world's oceans. Dr. Sam Roberts studied the planet's weather patterns and looked forward to exploring its mountains and forests. The greatest misunderstanding in galactic history was about to become the most one-sided battle ever fought. Neither side understood what was really happening, but only one side was preparing for war. The moment finally came when the UN's New Horizon reached the inner part of the Tau Ceti system. Captain Tom Harris stood on his bridge, looking at the beautiful blue and green planet that would become humanity's newest home. His crew was excited and ready to start the landing procedures. "Beautiful world, isn't it?" Tom said to his navigation officer, Ben Clark. "Perfect for farming and families." Ben smiled as he checked their approach course. "The colonists are going to love it here, Captain. Clean air, good water, and plenty of open land for building." Neither man noticed the massive fleet of alien warships hiding in the darkness around them. 760 ships had been waiting in complete silence, their weapons charged and ready for battle. Admiral Zero Prime gave the final order. From her flagship, all ships drop cloaking shields. "Show them our strength. Maybe they will surrender without a fight." Suddenly, space around the New Horizon filled with alien ships. Massive battleships appeared from nowhere, their hulls glowing. With energy weapons, smaller cruisers and destroyers formed attack formations. The planet killer ships, each one the size of a small moon, moved into position. On the New Horizon's bridge, every alarm started ringing at once. The sensor screens lit up with hundreds of contacts. Communications Officer Rick Johnson nearly fell out of his chair. "Captain, we have contacts everywhere. Hundreds of ships. They just appeared out of nowhere," Rick shouted. Tom stared at the main screen in shock. He'd never seen so many ships in one place. This was clearly first contact with alien life, but they did not look friendly. His training kicked in immediately. Red alert. All hands to emergency stations. Rick, broadcast our peaceful intentions on all frequencies. Ben, power down all weapons. Systems immediately, Tom ordered. Tom was following Earth's first contact protocols exactly. When meeting aliens, humans were supposed to show they were peaceful by turning off their weapons and asking to talk. It seemed like common sense to him, to Admiral Zero Prime. Watching from her flagship, the human response looked like psychological warfare. No species in galactic history had ever powered down their weapons when facing a superior force. It had to be a trap. They are trying to fool us into thinking they surrender. They must have some kind of secret weapon they are preparing to use, Zara told her officers. Rick Johnson was sending the same message over and over in simple mathematics and basic pictures. "We are humans. We come in peace. Seek friendship with all intelligent life. We wish to establish trade and cultural exchange." When the alien computers translated this message, it sent shockwaves through the fleet. To species who had spent months studying human military capabilities, the message sounded completely different. "We are the conquerors. We come with overwhelming force. You will submit to our rule. Resistance is useless." Admiral Zero Prime felt her blood turn cold. The humans were so confident of victory that they were demanding surrender before the battle even started. Their arrogance knew no bounds. Captain Tom Harris realized he needed to do something to show the aliens that humans were peaceful. Down to the science department. "Dr. Roberts, activate the mineral analysis beam," pointed at one of their ships. "Maybe we can show them that we're just explorers and scientists," Tom said. Dr. Sam Roberts was confused but followed orders. "Activating. Geological survey beam, Captain." Targeting the largest ship in their formation, the beam that came from the New Horizon was designed to study the composition of rocks and asteroids. It was completely harmless to living things, but it could analyze any material it touched. To humans, it was just a simple scientific tool. The beam hit Admiral Zero Prime's flagship, the Galaxy's Shield. The massive warship had armor that could withstand planet-destroying weapons. It had shields that could stop the heat of a star. It was the most protected ship in the galactic fleet. The human geological survey beam went through the alien shields like they were made of paper. It penetrated the armor like it was not even there. Alarms screamed throughout the ship as systems started failing. The hull began to crack and split. "Impossible," Zara shouted as her bridge shook apart around her. "They just destroyed our primary shields with a single shot." "All ships, emergency maneuvers. They have weapons beyond our understanding." Dr. Roberts watched his instruments with concern. "Captain, their ship seems to be having some kind of technical Problems. Should I shut down the beam? Yes. Shut it down immediately. We don't want to hurt anyone, Tom replied. The moment the beam stopped, Admiral Zeraprime's ship stopped taking damage. To the alien commander, this looked like the humans were showing mercy. They had demonstrated they could destroy the galaxy's most powerful warship with ease, then stopped just to prove their superiority. They could have killed us all in seconds, but they held back. They want us to know how helpless we are, Zara said to her remaining officers. Meanwhile, Ambassador Linda Gray was getting ready in the New Horizons diplomatic quarters. Linda was a smart woman in her 40s who had spent years learning how to talk to different cultures. She was excited about meeting aliens for the first time. Captain Harris, I'm ready to go over to their ship for negotiations. This is the most important moment in human history, Linda said over the radio. Tom was relieved that they had a real diplomat on board. Good luck, Linda. Try to make friends with them. We want peaceful relations with our new neighbors. When the alien fleet received the human request for diplomatic talks, panic spread through every ship. The humans had just demonstrated weapons that could destroy anything in space. Now they wanted to negotiate terms of surrender. Admiral Zeraprime knew she had lost the battle before it really started. Her most powerful ship was nearly destroyed by what appeared to be a casual warning shot. The human vessel was completely undamaged and showed no signs of strain from using such incredible weapons. Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them the human ship is too powerful to stop. They have weapons that make our technology look like stone tools. Cannot fight them. Zara transmitted. Captain Tom Harris was trying to think of other ways to show the aliens that humans were peaceful. The situation was getting more tense by the minute, and he did not want anyone to get hurt. Maybe we should show them some of our colony equipment. Let them see that we're here to build farms and schools, not military bases. Tom suggested Chief Engineer Kate Williams was called to the bridge. She brought up displays showing all the machinery they had brought for building the new colony. Farming equipment, construction machines, water purification systems, and atmospheric processors. This is what we use to build new homes on planets, Kate explained to the bridge crew. When the alien sensors detected this equipment, the readings sent another wave of fear through the fleet. The humans had terraforming technology that could reshape entire worlds. They had construction machines that could build massive structures. They had equipment that could control a planet's air and water to the aliens. It looked like the humans had brought everything needed to completely transform the Tau Ceti system for their own use. This was not just an invasion, it was total planetary conquest. They planned to change everything, Admiral Zeraprime whispered. They will remake our worlds to suit themselves. No species will be able to survive the changes they will make. The misunderstanding was growing worse with every action the humans took. Every attempt at friendship was seen as a threat. Peaceful gesture looked like a demonstration of superior power. The galaxy's greatest military force was being terrified by a ship, full of farmers and families. The moment of final confrontation was approaching, and neither side understood what was really happening. Admiral Zeraprime made the hardest decision of her military career. She could not let the human ship reach the planet and start their invasion. Even if her fleet was destroyed, she had to try to stop them. All ships open fire. Target their engines and weapon systems. Try to disable them without destroying the ship completely, Zara ordered. 760 alien warships fired at once. The space around the New Horizon filled with energy beams, missiles, and plasma bolts. It was the largest concentrated attack in galactic military history. Captain Tom Harris watched in horror as thousands of weapons fired at his ship. The peaceful first contact he had hoped for was turning into a nightmare. All hands brace for impact. Kate, get maximum power to our shields. Ben, evasive maneuvers now, Tom shouted. The alien weapons hit the New Horizon from every direction. Energy beams that could melt mountains bounced off the ship's hull like raindrops. Missiles designed to crack open battleships exploded harmlessly against the shields. Plasma bolts that could vaporize cities simply disappeared when they touched the human vessel. The New Horizon had been built to travel between stars safely. Its armor was designed to stop space rocks moving at incredible speeds. Its shields were made to protect against radiation that would kill any living thing. Human engineers always built things stronger than they needed to be, just to be safe. What seemed like normal safety features to humans looked like impossible super technology to the aliens. The ship that was flying through their heaviest attacks without taking any damage at all. This is impossible. Admiral Zeray Prime screamed as she watched her weapons do nothing. Nothing can survive that much firepower. Chief Engineer Kate Williams was in the engine room, trying to protect the 50,000 sleeping colonists. She had never been in a space battle before, but her training took over. All power to forward. Shields, reroute emergency power from non-essential systems. I need every bit of energy we can get. Kate ordered her team. When Kate redirected the ship's power, something strange happened to the alien sensors. The New Horizons seemed to split into multiple ships. Each power surge created energy patterns that confused the alien computers. Captain, the human ship is multiplying. We're reading 5 separate vessels now, reported the tactical officer on Zera Prime's flagship. The aliens thought they were seeing some kind of advanced technology that could create copies of ships during battle. What they were really seeing was just Kate's power management confusing their sensors. Navigator. Ben Clark was following emergency protocols, trying to get the ship away from the battle. He activated the New Horizons emergency jump system, preparing to escape into faster-than-light travel. Captain, emergency jump sequence ready. We can get out of here in 30 seconds, Ben reported. Tom nodded. He had to protect his passengers. Do it, Ben. Get us out of here. The New Horizons jump to faster-than-light travel created a massive distortion in space-time. The gravitational wake from the ship's departure disabled half the alien fleet. Ships that had been fighting for hundreds of years suddenly found their engines dead and their weapons offline. To the surviving aliens, it looked like the human ship had used space itself as a weapon. The demonstration of power was beyond anything they had ever imagined. A single ship had fought their entire fleet and escaped without taking any damage. Admiral Zera Prime stared at her dead instruments and knew the war was over before it had really begun. Send a message to the Galactic Council immediately. Unconditional surrender. The humans are too powerful to fight. 6 months later, the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history took place on Harmony Station. President Veltar of the Galactic Council had prepared the most generous peace treaty ever written. The aliens were ready to give humans half the galaxy just to avoid total destruction. Ambassador. Linda Gray arrived on the diplomatic ship in Friendship. Linda was nervous but excited about this historic moment. She had spent months learning about alien cultures and preparing for peaceful negotiations. When Linda's ship docked at Harmony Station, she was greeted by representatives from every major species in the galaxy. They bowed low and spoke in voices full of respect and fear. Great Ambassador of the Human Empire, we welcome you to our humble station. We pray that your mighty species will show mercy to our weak civilizations, President Veltar said. Linda was confused by their words. Human Empire. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're just the United Nations of Earth. We're not an empire, and we're definitely not mighty. We just want to be friends and maybe set up some trade agreements. The alien representatives looked at each other nervously. They thought Linda was being modest or playing some kind of political game. No species with planet-destroying weapons and reality-bending technology would call themselves not mighty. Of course, Great Ambassador. Your wisdom and mercy are well known throughout the galaxy. We offer you control of the Outer Rim territories, full mining rights to 300 systems, and tribute payments from all member species, Veltar said. Linda's eyes went wide. I'm sorry, but I think you have the wrong idea about us. We don't want to control anybody or collect tribute. We just want to explore space peacefully and learn about other cultures. The more Linda tried to downplay human power, the more impressed the aliens became. Here was a species so confident in their strength that they did not even need to threaten anyone. Their ambassador was so certain of victory that she could afford to be generous. The peace treaty was signed quickly. Humans were given everything they asked for, which was basically just permission to explore space and trade with other species. The aliens thought they were getting the deal of a lifetime by keeping their freedom in exchange for letting humans do whatever they wanted. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Brown received a message that her fusion improvements had been selected for the Nobel Prize in Physics. The committee said her work would revolutionize space travel and change humanity's place in the universe. Lisa was happy, but confused. All I did was make engines 15% more efficient. That's nice, but it's not exactly revolutionary, she said to her cat. She had no idea that her small improvement had accidentally made humans the most feared species in the galaxy. Her better engines had convinced aliens that humans had mastered physics in ways that were impossible. Captain Jake Morrison was still flying survey missions on the USS Liberty. He filed another routine report about interesting radio signals coming from the direction of Galactic Center. Recommend follow-up investigation of radio sources. Signals appear artificial, but no immediate threat detected. It's probably just some old civilization's communication satellites, Jake wrote. He did not know that those signals were desperate messages from alien governments, all trying to surrender to humanity as quickly as possible. The greatest misunderstanding in galactic history was complete. Humans had become the rulers of half the galaxy without knowing it. Alien species lived in terror of the peaceful explorers who just wanted to be friends. On Earth, people watched the news about first contact with excitement. Everyone was happy that humans had found friendly aliens who wanted to trade and share knowledge. Nobody understood that those friendly aliens were actually terrified of human superweapons that did not really exist. President Mary Johnson gave a speech celebrating humanity's entry into galactic civilization. This is a great day for peace and cooperation between species. We look forward to many years of friendship with our new alien neighbors, she said. Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the speech and nodded with relief. The human leader had promised continued peace. As long as they kept the humans happy, maybe their species would be allowed to survive. The cosmic joke was complete. Humanity had accidentally conquered the galaxy through a series of misunderstandings, engineering safety margins, and the simple fact that they built everything bigger and stronger than they needed to. The most peaceful species in the galaxy had become its most feared rulers without firing a single shot in anger. And the best part was that they still had no idea what had happened. Humans continued their daily lives, completely unaware that they were now the galactic overlords that every alien species feared and respected. The universe had a sense of humor after all.